Hello everyone, this is Eve at Interval Zero, and today, following our podcasts on Open Standard, we will talk about SRCI. SRCI is the Standard Robot Command Interface. It defines PLC function blocks that can be used by any brand of PLC to control any brand of industrial robotic arm. This standard is owned by PI, the Profibus Profinet International Association, but it is done in cooperation with PLC Open and the OPC Foundation. So first, what does this standard contain? So this standard is quite new, and it defines all the configuration, control, and safety functions that are implemented in most industrial robotic arms. It allows full control of the robot without having to do any programming inside the robotic controller itself. But all the calculations, all the motion, all the safety, everything is still processed inside the robot controller by its own manufacturer programs. So why this new standard? Well, this new standard is to allow PLC programmers to use and write robot control applications without having to learn vendor-specific robot languages. At the moment, there is no real standard in robot languages, and each vendor has their own variables, their own units, and their own languages. So it makes it quite hard for smaller companies to use robots because they need training on each brand. With this new standard, PLC programmers will be able to use any brand of robot very easily. It will also allow to have a single program to control a machine, let's say a CNC for machining, and a robotic arm which could be used for loading and unloading pieces inside that machine. It could also be used to have a single program to control multiple robots on a production line. In both cases, it allows these different machines to cooperate without having to do complex I/O cabling and synchronization. To allow the integration of this new standard in factories easily, it has been designed flexible, which means the PLC that has the application could be remote, so a hardware PLC, or a software PLC on a controller, but also a software PLC directly inside the robot controller locally. The same program could be used in either locations. The connection between the PLC and the robotic arm has been tested with Profinet by Siemens, but it could run on any field bus. For example, EtherCAT or the in development OPC U-Wave field bus. And it is defined as function blocks inside PLCs, but they could be functions or classes in other languages as the usage evolves. So any kind of programmer could rely on this protocol, on this standard, to control robots with their own preferred language. In terms of adoption, because that's a very important point with standards, if nobody implements it, then it's not really useful. In this case, as it is really new, at the moment only Siemens PLC and a couple of robot vendors have released support for the standard. But there's a dozen more PLC and robot vendors that are currently developing their libraries and will release this year or next year. And most, if not all, of the major robot vendors have joined the project and have plans to support it. At Interval Zero, we are currently developing a library for our soft PLC for SRCI. Thank you for listening and see you soon for another podcast.